All right, so we're looking at our next one, brittle solids. So we have the crystal lattice, simply put here. So since all of these are oppositely charged and connected, forcing these a little bit out of proportion will have the positives line up with each other, the negatives and the positives, and this will go throughout the entire crystal. So forcing it out of place aligns similar charges next to each other, and that will repel and force apart the actual part here, breaking the crystal. Next, let's take a look at some water. Good old nice water. Water is a polar molecule. Remember it? So its positives attract negatives of the crystal. So its positives attract the negatives of the crystal, while the positives of the crystal attract the negatives of the water. So if this can happen, it can pull the ions apart if the crystal has weak enough bonds. So if these are weak enough, this will happen. However, if these bonds in the crystal are stronger than the ability for the water to pull it apart, it'll remain a crystal even in water. Now, to form structures, it takes energy, so breaking them apart would also be true. When ions form a crystal, when ions form a crystal, energy is released. The same amount of energy is needed to break up crystal into its ions. So we can see that lithium, forming with fluorine, would give up so many kilojoules in what's called a mole. Just think of it as an amount. As these ions get larger, those attractive forces get weaker, because we talk about the attractive forces of ions and distances. So you can see they get weaker because these get larger. And that's true down the line for all of these. Likewise, when we have more charges, you can see what dramatic increase in energy is needed for each of these. But as you move on down and have larger and larger ions, that energy decreases. Likewise, multiple charges takes on even more energy. The last one we have is for why things are electrically conductive. So electricity is moving charges. In a solid, it has the charges, but it doesn't have the moving. In liquid, which means molten or really heated up because these have high melting points, or dissolved, like dissolved in water, charges, check. It can move, check. So it has two things that can have for electricity to happen. Because once you have moving of charges, a battery can push those charges through a current and, of course, make it electrically conductive. Got our final joke here. So two atoms are walking down the street. One says to the other, "Hey, I lost an electron." The other said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Of course, I'm positive." Be sure to answer the final question. See if you have any questions when you come on in. Take care. I'll see you soon.